I'm sure that the banks feel more confident lending to Unilever than lending to an indigenous Ghanaian company, because God forbid if the proprietor drops dead today, sometimes the company just goes under and then you lose the money that you lent to them. So these are all things that we need to, look at and see how we can, assist Ghanaian indigenous business to grow. But I wanted to say it's partly government's fault too, because we are responsible for the environment in which they operate, and when we are fiscally indisciplined and we create a situation where the deficit goes up, inflation starts to rise, interest rates start to rise, then it affects them adversely. And so sometimes, not really due to their fault, they do government contracts, they do work for government, and we fail to pay them on time, and the banks are running after them, So it's a vicious cycle we need to break, and that is why a lot of the reforms that Seth is carrying out in the finance ministry with regards to the gift miss and making sure that we budget properly and make sure that the MDAs follow budgets, discipline, and all that are issues that we're trying to introduce. But people have been used to the bad old ways for so long that it's very difficult to change their attitudes to see what is happening. I mean, several times they've interceded with me to sack Seth because he's hurting the politics. He doesn't understand the politics, If there's no money, you should go and borrow. As if it were that easy, And so we have this kind of environment existing, and I believe that us working together, with the banking sector, and especially reputable banks like Barclays, I'm sure brick by brick will fix the system and make it run more efficiently so that Ghana becomes truly the preferred destination. Already a lot of investors have interest in Ghana because of the peace and stability, democracy, respect for human rights, rule of law, the justice system and all that, based on English common law and all that. But we need to make it even more attractive. We cannot just continue to run on these alone. They must really feel a good experience, in terms of investing in Ghana. And so that's the vision we're working towards, and I'm sure that together with Barclays, we'll be able to realize that vision. Recently, I held the first anniversary press conference, and one of the areas that Ghanaians really hate about is the housing area. And so I don't know Barclays to do direct mortgaging, but I'm sure that you can be advisors when it comes to how to deepen the mortgage market, and be able to find more resources to allow Ghanaians to own their own homes in a way that is simpler than them having to traditionally get a foreman, go and put a little brick and mortar, leave it for some years. That situation I was describing, where by the time the house is built, they cannot even tell how much the house costs, and it's taking the whole family's savings, throughout their working lives. And so by the time they retire, they don't have anything saved over, to be able to do anything. So these are issues that we'll continue to discuss, and also to see how we can deepen the domestic banking sector. I mean, most banks, and I'm not talking about Barclays, but most banks in Ghana, I mean, if you send a project to them, it very easily goes over their single obligor limit, because the banks don't have that, depth to be able to handle projects above a certain value. And so we need to look at that. I mean, we can look at the Nigerian experience. Nigeria has some quite serious banks, that really, are quite capable. And so we must learn from each other, some of the things they did there, and also do the same here. We've been trying to reduce the cash economy, and some of the decisions that are being put out are not as popular. Somebody was drawing my attention to, what do you call it, this recent directive you guys have given, third party. Yeah. And so, I mean, with all these decisions, we would like to know what your views are before we take them. But I do think that we must move towards a cashless economy. We must let Ghanaians, if you leave them in their own comfort zone, they would always prefer to go to the bank and draw huge amounts of money, go and put in the trunk of their cars, take it to somebody, count it again, give it to them, and they'll also carry it back the same day to another bank. and then go and have it all counted again and put back in, you know, when it could be a single, you know, direct transfer from account to account, you know. And so the traders, I mean, are the ones screaming against this, and it was to be expected. But I think that we must, you know, just map a direction or come out with a roadmap where we continue to push them, you know, gradually until people get comfortable with using, you know, electronic cards and, you know, direct bank-to-bank transfers instead of handling so much cash. Even the printing of money periodically to replace, you know, the old notes is a waste, you know, of resources. Yeah. So there's a lot that we could talk about, and I want to take the opportunity to congratulate our sister. And just going by her name, I suspect that I have some political affinity with her because of the chief fire officer. Akyianu is not a name that I've heard commonly, so I won't be surprised if she has some family relation with me, considering that Akyianu is my uncle. You're married to his son?
His nephew.
His nephew. Okay, I guess that. All right. So we have no doubt you do well, and we're there. You know, if there's anything that we can do together, government and Barclays, don't hesitate to get in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for sharing with us your own views and vision on how you would like to see the broader economy developing and the specific role the banking sector and Barclays can play. I would like to assure you that, you know, Barclays and the government of Ghana have been partners in progress for many years, as we know. And we can only expect that that friendship and that bond will grow from strength to strength. In fact, in that regard, Mr. President, I would also like to put on record, since Honorable Finance Minister is here, our appreciation, because, you know, he demonstrated by a small note, but something which we haven't seen before. We talked about some of the projects in which government projects in which Barclays has been participating, and if I can comment specifically on the TOR funding, where, you know, there was a syndicate involving ourselves, SG Bank, SNIT, Ghana International Bank, and there was a facility which, let me say, has dragged beyond its term. But the Honorable Finance Minister did write acknowledging that he was aware, okay, that basically the government was aware of the issue and our involvement, and that in due course, you know, he will look at it, and we appreciate that. We know the difficulties he's facing. We hear the comments that he's holding the purse strings, he's not allowing the economy to flourish. So I know him. I'm not sure if I agree, but, you know, but that is the average man's view. That's right. This man is not allowing the economy to grow, and like you say, he doesn't understand the politics. He's bringing the government down. Yeah. But that acknowledgement, you know, that acknowledgement is that, look, I'm aware of this issue, and in due course we'll look at it. It gives us hope. It encourages us that in the fullness of time, he will act on it. I think there's about 41 million CDs or so outstanding, of which about half of that was contributed by Barclays. So at least we're encouraged that he will look at it. And I just want to put our appreciation on record. We don't have many ministers, you know, who will even do that simple acknowledgement. So thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Minister, and we'll continue to stand by you as may be required.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.